Hey there nerds, Cubby and Brandon here with Nerdlocker.com with some comic reviews for you this week. We got Marvel, DC, and Image, of course.
And we got Boom, Dark Horse, and IDW.
Let's get it on.
Hey guys, Brandon here, and I am starting off my comic reviews with Batman number 13, The Death of the Family. Ah, my God, this is so good. He's taking a lot of Joker's history and tying it right into this story, using characters that were in some of his first appearances of the Joker. And I don't even know where he's going. I have no idea what the next issue is going to look like. I can't wait to see this giant plan. Pretty cool cliffhanger at the end here. And then we have a backup story written by James Tivian, who's doing Talon, and artist by Jock, who is always awesome. So yeah, I'm giving this 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. Pick it up. Awesome book.
Every single week when I look through our indie books for the week, I always get excited about number ones because it's a chance for me to pick up a whole new indie title created by somebody that's got an interesting idea in their head. And this week I read Transfusion number 1, written by Steve Niles. I really did not like this book going into it. I'm not a fan of the artwork, which is very reminiscent of like Ben Temple-Smith type of stuff. And I really didn't like it for that. But as I read more and more, the gore that happens as a result in the book is really, really attractive because of the art form that they use. So I really liked the book at the end of it, and I really enjoyed it. And I want to say that I want to read more and more of this title. In fact, so much that I want to see this book go ongoing. And see this in 30 issues, 60 issues, and so on. So I'm going to give Transfusion number 1 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
Hey there guys, Cubby here with my comic reviews this week. Up first, I got Suicide Squad number 13. Now, I'm not a big fan of this book. I actually did like the Suicide Squad before they did the whole relaunch, and I didn't really pick up on it. I didn't like the way they introduced the new costumes and new characters. It just wasn't my thing. But now after reading this issue, I feel like I made a really bad decision because it was actually really cool and interesting. And Deadshot was kind of a jerk and a dick, like he always is. But it seemed like he actually had some like heroic intentions, which is a little different. It's not how I want my Deadshot, truthfully, but it was still good. It was written well. Dwayne Sarinsky is actually writing this book, so he's done some awesome stuff. He did an amazing run on Cable, so I'm so stoked that he's on this book. Another thing, Harley Quinn, yeah, I like her the way she used to be. Crazy about Mr. J, but that's just me. Anyways, art in this book was pretty good, and the actual story was pretty interesting. Amanda Waller's character is a whole lot different than it used to be, which kind of gives me a little hope that a lot of people can really change and do things in a comic book. It's really, really nice to think about that. Although I really, really prefer my Amanda Waller to be a wall and to be a hardcore bitch. But that's neither here nor there. That's just my feelings on Amanda Waller. Either way, I'm gonna give this book 3.5 Nerd Skulls, and definitely check this out.
Hey guys, this is Haley, and I got to read Fanboys vs. Zombies number 7. If you don't know what this story is about, it is about zombies taking over Comic-Con. And I read an issue a couple issues back, around 2 or 3, and it was about zombies taking over Comic-Con. So I feel like not much has grown, and I feel almost that they're recycling stories because this issue revolved around an actress who gets attacked by zombies, which also happened in the issue that I read before. However, there are still some good points to it. There is a zombie survival author who seems a little Robert Kirkman-ish, which is pretty awesome. But it's still whimsical and fun, and I enjoyed reading it, so I'm still going to give it 3 Nerd Skulls.
Next up, I got to read Haunted Horrors number 1, just in time for the horror season. It's a pretty good book. It's pretty long, but it's a bunch of little short stories of different horror scenarios and just a bunch of different horror stories. I enjoyed it. I would definitely pick this up if you are a horror fan. I'm going to give it 3 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
All right, guys, so I also got to read Team 7 number 1. It's actually part of the Phase 2 of the New 52 universe. The DC is going out. And I was a little skeptical on this book, but it's really cool. It's really cool. It's Expendables meets comic books meets early 90s homage to costumes and guns and all the crazy theatrics that it would do. And then at the end of it, it throws a really cool twist at you, and you think they're infiltrating this prison, super secret, awesome prison that's supposed to hold all these crazy people. And it's like, oh man, everything's about to hit the fan right now. So I was really not looking forward to reading this, and at the end of it, I am very much looking forward to reading the next issue. So I'm totally going to give this a 3.5 Nerd Skulls, only because the art wasn't as great as I thought it could have been. It was a little inconsistent here or there, and there's a couple panels that were kind of like, really, bro, you could have spent a little more time on that one, a little more time on this one, a little less time on this massive page with a bunch of white space on it. But either way, it was still an awesome story, an awesome read, and I'm definitely going to be there for issue 2, 3.5 Nerd Skulls again. Check it out.
So this week I got a chance to read Phantom Stranger #1, another new DC #1. It was really, really good. I don't know much about Phantom Stranger, but the book was written by Dan Didio, who I got a chance to run into at MorrisonCon a couple weeks ago, and he was really excited about this title. I read the preview to this title in another one of DC's books, and it got me really amped up. The book reminds me a lot of the Ghost Rider character in Marvel, just because he's doing a job that nobody really wants to do, but he has to do it because there's a higher power telling him to do it. I like the book a lot. The art was really fantastic, and I want to read another one, so I'm going to add this one to my list. For that, I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
Hey guys, I got to read Buffy Season 9, Issue 14, and this one is about Billy the Vampire Slayer. And yes, that means that there is no Buffy, and there are no characters from Buffy that we recognize. I found this story to be a little bit offensive, actually, because they suggest that it was never possible for a male to be a Slayer in the past, and now with the subject matter thrown in, it just ends up being forced and a little bit preachy, and the story just kind of fell flat on its face because I didn't even understand whether this guy was a potential Slayer or a self-proclaimed Slayer. So I don't know what's going on. So I'm going to only give this book 2 Nerd Skulls.
All right, guys, I also got to read Dr. Manhattan #2 this week, and whoa. I know I read the last one, and it was very interesting to kind of see how he was looking through his life again. And with this issue, he uses his time-altering powers, his ability to see into different alternate realities, and explores that, and explores all the things that could have been different from what actually happened. And it's really, 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 really trippy and really crazy to see a world without Dr. Manhattan and how it would have come through in the Watchmen universe, of course. It's a little confusing at certain points, but it definitely, at the end of it, you totally understand what's going on. It wraps itself up really easily. But it definitely throws some good questions out there as to, like, you know, is the comedian necessarily a better hero or a worse hero than Dr. Manhattan? Is Ozymandias a better hero or a worse hero than either of them? It just blew my mind. Michael Straczynski is just awesome again, and Adam Hughes can do no wrong with these panels. He has not done a comic like this in a long time, and boy, was it awesome to see some really, really great pictures in this. Also, I did an Adam Hughes interview at Las Vegas Comic Expo. Should be up shortly, so be on the lookout for that. This issue, though, is totally getting 5 Nerd Skulls because one of the best stories I've read in a while. So check it out, guys.
All right, I got to read Ultimate X-Men #17. We still got the giant war going on in America. They're trying to figure out the Sentinels and the Nimrods and what's going on with all that. And there's a pretty big revelation here at the end, dealing with Nick Fury and Kitty Pryde and how everything has happened. We're getting a couple introductions of characters from the regular universe now into this universe, which I'm tempted to see how they play in, if they're the same type they were in the 616, how they're going to look in the Ultimate. But either way, this is a good book. I'm enjoying it. I'm giving it 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
So Marvel is throwing another limited series our way with Marvel Universe versus the Avengers #1. This is a short arc of only 4 issues, but this is the first issue, and it was really, really exciting. It does tie itself into the other versus Marvel Universe storylines that have happened with Punisher and Wolverine and other such characters. But this book switches the title around to where the Marvel Universe is now against the Avengers, and it really is in this book. Everything is beating down on the Avengers, and they're really trying to make it through and stay faithful to the outcome. It's a trying book, but it is told from Hawkeye's point of view, and it was really enjoyable for that. Cubby was over my shoulder the entire time trying to read it, but it was a really fun read. The art was really good, and I want to read all 4 issues, so I'm going to put this one on my list too. I'm going to give it 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
All right, guys, I got to read Uncanny Avengers #1, and whoa, crazy. I gotta say, with Avengers vs. X-Men #2, like once all that wrapped up, I was really underwhelmed with the ending of that story. I did not like the way it just kind of blew, and then things happened, and that was it. And it's just, all right, it's an ending to this story, but all this aftermath is having to, be dealt with everywhere else. this is one exception to that rule where I hate most of all this other stuff. This issue wraps most of that stuff up really, really well. It doesn't take all the things I want to know about. I mean, obviously there's a ton of other books that needs to be wrapped up in, but this one has like the main thing, Wolverine giving a eulogy, Scarlet Witch, dealing with her, dealing with how she's going to interact with the mutants from now on, and it just really, 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 really great issue story-wise. I mean, there's some really great twists at the end. The villain I did not see coming. They throw some hints at a possible villain and some name drop in, and it's like, oh man, is that person going to show up? Nope. Left field. What's up? This total awesome dude that needs to be around more. He's been around a bunch, but man, he needs to come back and really whoop some Avenger butt, because I can't wait to see that happen. Either way, John Cassaday did an amazing job on this book. It almost felt like a sequel to Astonishing X-Men, kind of like the same feel. I mean, that's partly Rick Remender. He's just doing an amazing job with anything that he does, and writing this story was amazing. I can't even put into words how interesting and cool and like the possibilities, the potential this story has. It looks like it's going to be awesome, and this is probably going to be the X book and Avengers book that everyone's going to be talking about. I'm going to give it 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. Definitely check this out, add it to your pull list, and just enjoy the ride, because it's going to be awesome.
Hey guys, I got to read Point of Impact #1, and I was really impressed by this story. It's black and white, and I kind of got a film noir effect about it, which I love because I'm a film person, and it just seems cinematic, and it almost reminded me of Sin City, the way that some of the pages are spread out, which visually, that was a great start. And then the story was just interesting as well. It's about a woman who is found dead on a car, and they're trying to figure out whether she jumped or if she was thrown off, and then all of the characters that are around her are introduced, and I'm really excited to see what their involvement in the story is going to become, because she definitely seems to have gotten herself into a little bit of trouble. So I'm definitely looking forward to this. You should pick this book up. I'm giving it 4.5 Nerd Skulls.
I got to read First X-Men #3. This is an X title I've had a very hard time getting behind, so I thought I'd give it a shot and read it. Still having a very tough time with it. I just don't like that they're kind of emulating the movies with, oh, there was a team before the X-Men and all this kind of stuff. And I just feel like this book isn't necessary. You're getting some mutant history, I guess, but that stuff changes all the time anyways with Marvel. They're just not very good at keeping everything in a solid timeline. So I don't know. I'm not enjoying this as much as I thought I would be. I'm giving it 2 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. Let me know what you guys think. That is all the comic reviews we have for you this week, but until next week, be sure to check us out on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and nerdlocker.com for all your nerdy news. I'm Brandon.
And I'm Gubby.
And we'll see you next week for even more comic reviews.